5 whys. It's a topic that if you do root cause analysis, that topic comes up all the time. And if you go to YouTube and type in 5 whys, you'll see a zillion YouTube videos on it.
If you type in 5 why examples, we will be the top of the page.
Oh, that's good.
Our 5 why examples
try
are the top
that.
of the page.
That's great. Well, but so many people use it, but so many people are always looking for something a little more robust. So why are people dissatisfied with it? That's what we're going to talk about today. Mark Paradise is here again. Glad to have you here. And we're going to go kind of through 3 reasons why people are dissatisfied with 5 whys.
Okay, well, let's give them the 3 reasons right off the bat, and then we'll talk about each one a little bit, and then we'll tell them about a solution if you're dissatisfied with 5 whys, what you need to do.
Yes, so let's get my glasses on here so I can read. Number 1, focus on a single root cause.
Yeah, so the first problem, well, actually, let me give them the first 3.
Okay.
So the first one is focus on a single root cause.
Yes.
And people tend to do that. And when there's actually multiple root causes to
yes,
find.
we definitely know that.
Secondly is to, they tend to confirm what they want to find. It's called confirmation bias. And third is people don't have any guidance, especially when it comes to finding human performance type root causes. So let's talk about all 3 of those then, and we'll go into them a little bit more.
First, kind of why do people go to 5 whys?
Well, why would they do it to start with?
Yeah.
Well, number 1, it's taught by a lot of people. I mean, there's tons of people out there teaching 5 whys because it's easy to teach. How hard is it to teach somebody to ask why 5 times? And of course, then it gets more complicated because then you have to have tests to see that you've reached a root cause. But people think it's very easy.
Right.
So easy is the reason. When you tell somebody and say, why do you use 5 whys? Almost always the reason they say is because it's so easy. Or they say, well, we only use it for simple problems.
Okay.
The simple problems we can solve with 5 whys because we already know what the causes are. So if people think
So why ask?
well, they come up with their 5 whys to make it come up with
their
what
proof,
they want.
yes. Okay.
So people do it because they say, well, this is just for simple problems. My question always is, well, why are you investigating these simple problems? And the answer is, well, we want to prevent the big stuff from happening.
Right.
Well, then isn't it important to get the right answers to the simple problems? Because if you're getting the wrong answers to the simple problems, then you aren't going to prevent the major accidents and incidents.
Right, and some of those simple problems could have multiple reasons why they happened.
They could, or at least 2 or 3,
Yeah.
right? At least 2 or 3. And if you're only getting 1, you're only learning about 1/3 as much as you should from that incident.
So how do you know what to ask?
Well, now you're asking a Taproot question, aren't you? So the first thing you got to think about is you need to understand what happened before you understand why it happened. And that somewhat links to the first problem, focus on a single root cause. Because in 5 whys, people start out with asking why, and they're already going down a chain of questions on a single cause.
Right.
Now you can have some people say, well, we can teach them to ask why multiple times. So they start saying things like 5 watts and 5 whys or something like that. And so they're trying to get multiple chains. But that
sounds like a good way to go all over the place.
Well, it is harder than what simple 5 whys is, isn't it? So I've seen one incident where, gosh, what was it? I can't remember what it was, 50 or 60 whys they had.
Oh, wow.
And when you start saying 50 or 60 whys, all of a sudden you start thinking, well, this isn't near as simple as we started off to, was it? So, simplicity is the reason we use it, but if you want to get to multiple root causes, it somehow gets much more complex. So the first problem, focus on a single root cause, gets you into trouble.
Yes.
And that's the trouble of you're only finding one cause, not multiple causes.
And so easy is not easy if you're going to have to go back and redo the investigation again because it happens again.
Well, how many times are you going to have to do this investigation to get all the answers you should have got the first time?
Exactly.
And that is one of the drawbacks.
Confirmation bias. That is
So we
normal for people to do.
The 5 whys, what they do, one of the things they say is, well, I already know what the cause is, so this was an easy one to do with 5 whys. Well, that's called that is a really good example of confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is when you already know the answer, you only look for the evidence that proves
that you're right.
what you want it to prove, and you disregard the evidence that says, "Oh, wait a second, you may not be on the right path." And this isn't something that's easy to get around. People naturally have a confirmation bias. So in Taproot, we teach people not to go down the confirmation bias, but to use the evidence to figure out what happened. Then you start looking for causal factors. And once you got causal factors, you've got a good outline of what happened, and you aren't just making stuff up to get the answer you want. So in fact, in the article we'll reference in this, we'll show you how Taproot does that.
That's a great example.
How you draw a good snap chart, how you identify causal factors, and then how you take them through the root cause tree. So it really is a lot harder than just figuring out what you think you already know.
Right.
In fact, that's the second big problem. The confirmation bias is just trying to make it get to where you want. You really want to know what you don't know. It's the biggest thing is, what is there about this incident that I don't understand? If you think you know all the answers, you're probably going down the wrong path. You really need to find out the things you don't know.
Well, if you knew it, why didn't you fix it beforehand?
Well,
Doesn't work that way.
No, that's always the. If they only would have listened to me, they wouldn't have had this happen. And then you start things. If they only would have been more careful.
Yeah.
Because why? This is a human error, and careful people wouldn't have made that kind of error.
You learned that in another course we have,
there
don't
we go.
you?
It's a different course.
Well, so like we were saying, kind of you don't have guidance to find those root causes.
So that's the third one of the bunch, and that is most people don't have any training on. They aren't human factors experts. They aren't trained in how to find human factors problems, and so when somebody how give me a percentage, and it's somewhere between 50 and 98% of errors. All errors are due to human performance. But most incidents are due to human performance. So most of what you're going to do in an investigation is try to find out why people made mistakes, why the things you thought were going to work to prevent this from failing didn't work. And unless you've got training in human factors, you probably don't have a good basis for doing that 5 whys because you don't know what questions to ask to get you to the causes of human errors. So that's the third thing is investigators who aren't human factors experts need guidance to find human factors causes. And if they don't have that guidance, they're not going to find them.
I know where they can get guidance.
Where?
It's Taproot. Go to a Taproot course. We put those tools right there together for you, and you can just go right through the process, and it guides you just easily. If you can answer yes or no to certain questions, you can come up with a very good answer to your problem.
There you go.
It's a wonderful system. So tell us a little bit about how it guides you and makes you that human performance expert that you're not trained in.
So first off, I already mentioned you have a snap chart.
Yeah.
And when you have that what happened, that really helps provide guidance.
Yes.
I'll mention the other thing that can help you have a better snap chart, and that's if you have equipment problems, there's something called Equifactor that helps you troubleshoot equipment problems. And that'll help you get a lot more information for your snap chart. And sometimes you'll find that what you thought was an equipment problem was actually a human performance problem.
Right. It's nice to have both those tools.
So then once you've got your what happened, you're going to try to decide what are the problems that let this happen. We call those causal factors. And we've got a causal factor worksheet, and there's an example in the article on this of a causal factor worksheet. And that, once again, is a set of questions that helps you define what are those things that allowed this incident to go all the way to be an incident.
Complete guidance all the way through.
Didn't let it get stopped along the way. So once you've got your causal factors, those are the things you want to find the root causes for. And the guidance we've got in that is called the root cause tree. It's got a 15-question human performance troubleshooting tables, and it's got 7 basic cause categories to look at. Those are all backed up with a dictionary with dictionary definitions, not your standard dictionary, but a dictionary of questions you need to answer to figure out why people made mistakes. And so with the combination of the tree and the dictionary, you get a lot of guidance on that's why this happened. That's why this causal factor became a human error. And then you can take that, and the next set of guidance you get is how do you fix that? And we've got the corrective action helper to help people who don't have a lot of human factors experience develop good, effective corrective actions. And finally, in the corrective action helper, there's references. So if you want to go learn more about, I don't know, whatever thing it is, let's say it was you had bad labels, what does a good label look like? The dictionary gives you references to go to say, hey, this is more learning about labeling.
So you literally, you start with finding out your what happened, and evidence collection is a big part of that as well. And we have ways that we can help people do better at collecting evidence.
Yes, we do.
Great tools for that, and we can put a link
and that
to
goes
those.
Up with the finding out what happened part, getting your good snap chart.
Exactly. And then what we do in Taproot is take you through, all you do is ask those questions.
It's a guided process.
It's totally guided. And like we tell people all the time, if you can answer yes or no, you can do Taproot and come up with expert results. And your team can come up with consistent results too, which is very important. So
it is amazing to see 2 or 3 different teams tackle the same problem and come up with very similar answers and effective corrective actions that people have shown worked.
Yeah.
And that's really impressive, because that's a fourth problem with 5 whys. And that is, you give 3 different teams the issue to evaluate, and they'll come back with 3 different answers and 3 different corrective actions, and none of them seem like they're going to work very well, and that's a bad root cause analysis.
And that new causal factor worksheet you mentioned, it has really helped teams stick with that consistency as well. It's really helped take people through that to get to the right causal factors on everything. Now the tools and everything are just fantastic. When I talk to clients on the phone, the words consistency and standardization come up all the time. That's what they want. They want consistency in their investigation. They want the robust investigation so they don't have to do them twice or 3 times, and they want to be able to standardize across the board.
And somebody new who takes Taproot, I think the first thing that's so amazing to them is that they didn't know what they didn't know. And the snap chart, getting a good snap chart is like, wow, I wouldn't have asked all these questions. I wouldn't have gotten all this information unless I laid it out like this. And once I laid it out like this, I really understood the problem much better than before I did this. And then they go into the tree and they say, wow, I would have never asked all these questions. I wouldn't have considered all these things. An example would be when they're going through the 15 questions and they get to the question that has fatigue as part of it. They'll go, well, I never asked anybody about fatigue before. I never thought about that as an issue. And wow, that's an important thing. Maybe that's causing problems here. So you start seeing these things that were your blind spots, things you didn't look for, and the tree helps you make sure you aren't skipping over your blind spots and missing whole classes of potential causes that you just didn't think about because you weren't trained in all those things.
And you can use that information to look at your program as a whole proactively. And
you can turn that around. Now you're getting to the Stopping Human Error course.
I can't help it. I love that.
We've got another course coming up 15th and 16th of September that if you haven't gone to it, you ought to go to it. Even if you've been Taproot trained, you'll learn a lot in that course.
It's just all great.
So
I get so excited.
Taproot, if they want to learn Taproot, they can go to the 2-day Essentials course, the 2-day Taproot Root Cause Analysis course. They can go to the 2-day Equifactor and Taproot course, Equifactor Equipment Troubleshooting and Taproot Root Cause Analysis course. Or they can go to the 5-day, which gets you the 2-day information, the 5-day information, and additional information in a 5-day course.
I love that, grading your investigations.
It's in the 5-day.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. So to find out more about these, if you all want this fantastic, robust system at your company, we can help you make that happen and kind of get away from this 5 whys, and you can even
help
do this.
Those people who are dissatisfied.
That's right. We're going to help you not be dissatisfied any longer. So you just go to our website at taproot.com. And you can look under our courses. There's descriptions of the courses. We have all kinds of things up there now. We've even got webinars going on and all kinds of things to help benefit your program and supplement if you've already been Taproot trained. But go to our website, contact us at info@taproot.com. We're happy to give you information.
Don't forget to mention next year's summit.
Oh, the summit will be here before you know it. We're
Yes,
less than a year away.
Yes. And the
We've got a lot of work
up.
to do.
The website's up. I just got done last week adding the keynote speakers to the website. So
Yep.
if they want to see who those are, they can go to the website and look for it.
It's going to be awesome, and we're going to be here in our hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee, and we just love showing Southern hospitality to all of our friends. So that's June 14th through the 18th in 2021.
Yes.
Holy cow.
It's just around the corner, isn't it?
2021. But so there's so much we can help you with. So just contact us, go to our website, follow us on all of our social media platforms, subscribe to our channel. Tell us if you use 5 whys and are you dissatisfied?
And why did you do it? Why did you do it?
Exactly.
And what problems have you had?
Exactly. We would love to know that kind of information.
I always like the answer. I never have any problems. Why? Because I know all the answers.
Well, there you
I've
go.
had somebody tell me that before. I know all the
I
answers.
know.
Well, that's good that you know it all.
Been there, done that. Right. Well, thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to our channel, ring the bell for notifications so you know when we're going to have new videos up, and we'll see you back here next week.
Bye.